Kendrick Lamar just surprise dropped a new album called GNX. And while I believe that this is a great body of work, I don't believe that it's actually telling the full story. Stay with me now. I recently came across a tweet talking about the title track Whacked Out Moral and how it was recorded just 2 days before the release of the album. And this is actually backed up by multiple recent situations that Kendrick addresses on the song. For one, the whole Lil Wayne and Kendrick debacle from when Kendrick was announced to headline Super Bowl 2025 set to take place in New Orleans. Now, if you don't know why this is an issue, well, Lil Wayne is from New Orleans, and usually rappers like to represent their city. For example, in 2022, when the Super Bowl hit Inglewood, California, the entire Super Bowl was dedicated to celebrating West Coast artists such as Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, and even Kendrick Lamar. But the entire show wasn't just West Coast acts, alright? We had 50 Cent, Mary J. Blige, Eminem, and Anderson .Paak, who would make appearances as well. But the show was clearly marketed to be a victory lap for the West Coast. And due to this show, Lil Wayne made a statement earlier this year about wanting to headline the next Super Bowl after hearing that they'd be returning to New Orleans after 11 years. And as we know, Kendrick would ultimately end up headlining after having an amazing 2024. People were split about this decision. A lot of people celebrated and a lot of people hated. I think Kendrick was the clearest choice after the amazing 2024 run he just went on, but it was clear that this situation upset both parties, which is something Kendrick would address in Whacked Out Morals.
Used to bump the Carter 3, I held my rolly chain proud. Irony, I think my hard work let Lil Wayne down.
But the main thing to note about this is that this situation took place all the way back in September, meaning that Kendrick most likely recorded this song within the last few months. Funnily enough, as I was recording this video, Wayne actually responded to the bar with aggression. I mean, it wasn't even a diss, it was honestly just an observation. But that's not all. Kendrick would even address Snoop Dogg posting Drake's tailor-made diss on Instagram, joking that he was praying it was the edibles, which it apparently was. But this situation happened this year as well. 7 months to be exact, but you get the point. Or maybe you don't understand why this is a big deal. Well, let me remind you of the fact that it took Kendrick 1,855 days to make Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. And no, I did not count. That is literally the first fucking line on the album. Kendrick is known to take his time with albums. He addressed COVID and Black Lives Matter 2 years after its peak, but it's his unique perspective that we all appreciate so much. But that's not all. A second tweet hit my twin timeline. But this time, they were pointing out the different observations not only in the music, but within the rollout. For some of the smaller things, most of the features on this album featured only LA artists, only exception being SZA. Or the fact that sonically, this album feels more like a mixtape than the full conceptual body of works we're used to from Kendrick. But here's the heavy hitter. Kendrick has a series called The Heart, which are singles that he usually drops right before an album. For an example, right before Kendrick dropped Mr. Morale in 2022, he dropped The Heart Part 5 to begin his rollout. Same applies to the rest of the series. Well, this album, GNX, was a surprise drop, meaning that there weren't any singles before this drop. But guess what just so happens to be on this album? The Heart Part 6. You following me now? If we're going off Kendrick's usual pattern of dropping The Heart as an appetizer before the main course meal, then The Heart Part 6 being on GNX would make GNX that appetizer. And if you're still not convinced, let's take a look at the trailer real quick. The trailer opens up to a shot of two 1987 Buick GNXs. Why is that so important? It's because there's fucking 2 of them. And on the cover art, there's only just one. But here's where people might start to say that fans are coping, i.e. me. Oh, why can't you just enjoy the music? What the fuck is wrong with you people? You remember Damn, you know, the album he released in 2017 with the song Humble that went massively viral?
No, sit down.
Be humble. Yeah, the same type of theorizing happening there as well. A lot of fans who wanted more music at the time found Easter eggs surrounding the album, and a bunch of artists around Kendrick started egging on the theory because they thought it was fun. But it caused a lot of people to believe that Damn was a 2-part album, with Damn being the first part and Nation being the second part, combining the words into damnation, which is the act of literally damning something to hell. The theory goes that since Kendrick dropped Damn on Good Friday, which in the text describes the day as the crucifixion of Christ, Nation would supposedly drop on Easter Monday, which would be the day after the resurrection of Christ. Because in the text, Jesus resurrected on the 3rd day. Friday to Monday is 3 days. And I don't think I need to explain why Kendrick's devoutness to Christianity had this theory going really strong. Also, did you know that the wall that you see in the Damn album cover was actually blue? Why is that important? Well, in an attempt to add fuel to the fire, Kendrick would change his Spotify profile picture to the blue cover. And on top of everything else, Damn is also a double-sided album, meaning that there's a coherent story when played from the front and one when you play it backward. Basically the same shit that they tried to put on Eminem's The Death of Slim Shady. Now forever hold on to the fact that I was right about that being horseshit. So due to theories and delusions like these being common in the fan base, a few people were weary of this theory. But that's not all. Remember the trailer that I mentioned earlier? Yeah, there's a song in the trailer that was placed there to promote the sound of the album, except the song isn't even on the damn album.
I deserve this bitch like tiramisu. See, we go body for body. I hand you a body. I'm probably a better masseuse.
There's no way that he just forgot to put the song on there. Like, I'm sure that there's some sort of symbolism there. And the song placement was done by design. The album dropped like an hour after the trailer. That nigga did not forget. It's not like he has a lyric on the record hinting at dropping a deluxe or anything. Holy shit. Kinda reminds me when Kendrick dropped Euphoria and had a line there where he said,
Back to back, I like that record. I'ma get back to that for the record.
and then dropped 616 in LA like 3 days later. Or even better, when you dropped Meet the Grams 20 minutes after Family Matters dropped, and then 8 hours later dropped Not Like Us. Kendrick at this point is pretty familiar with dropping back-to-back records. I don't know about y'all, but at the end of the day, this is just a theory of music. And regardless of if this is actually true or not, this album will still hold a special place in my heart. Like, I literally got every type of vibe I wanted to hear from Kendrick on this record. We got the introspective album with the Alchemy. We got the R&B. We got 2 new SZA features. We got the rapping. We got the West Coast vibe. And then we got a new Tupac song. Like, what the fuck else could we really ask for here?
Reincarnated on this earth for 100 plus. Body after body, lesson after lesson.
It's kind of like if Kendrick rewound the clock back to being an underground LA artist, down to almost every feature being an LA native, or even down to the aesthetic of the cover art. And the way everything just came out so quickly, it really comes off as mixtape vibes for me. I mean, come on, this cover art was literally made to be on one of those CDs that people would pass out on the corner of the street. And as I mentioned earlier, Kendrick always drops conceptual albums. And this one really did not have a clear concept. It's just a bunch of West Coast classics, which, don't get me wrong, I am still very, very happy to have. But this feels like an appetizer to me. And I don't really feel crazy for feeling that way. I mean, Kendrick always drops subtle hints about new releases months or even years before they come out. I mean, even GNX wasn't that much of a surprise. Kendrick was posting on Instagram in March of 2024 talking about some, in the moment of confusion, the best you can do is find a GNX. On top of posting with it in his bizarre interview from October, literally just a fucking month ago. Delusion is part of the magic of what makes being a Kendrick fan so fun, all right? Let me have my goddamn fun. And before people misconstrue this video thinking that I'm theorizing about a new album when I'm not appreciating the music that we just got, look at how many songs I have liked on this album. This shit is not leaving rotation anytime soon. Now, if you don't mind me, I'm gonna go listen to Luther for the 15th time today. And I want to give a shout out to our recent channel members: Lil Shorty, Risklow, Kaz, OK Mez, Jolin, Intelligent, Icy Loser, Cosmo Universe, Big Man Riv, Nick Fox, Cy Jacko, Sticky Bean, Tina, RC Likes to Exist, Birds, and Jesus Cool Kids XDYT. Your support means everything. And if any of you are interested in supporting the channel further, you can click the join button next to my name and become a member today. Cause bitch, I walk in New Orleans with the etiquette of LA yelling,
Fuck it, I'm getting aggressive. Tryna send you niggas a message. Baby, I don't want you or your best friend. That bitch give me my weapons like 10-10. Wide body coupe, hear the engine. Yeah, I feel like Snoop.